President Putin says what has happened in Ukraine is a coup and the usurpation of power with the force of arms, affirming that Yanukovych is the legitimate president of Ukraine. In Damascus suburbs, the authorities seize a bus loaded with weapons on the highway in al-Mreiyia, capturing the terrorist driving it. Brazilian President Maduro affirms that the rightist attempt to prevent progress and development in Venezuela will fail. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mirado Krikorian from the News Center in Damascus. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said that what happened in Ukraine was a coup and the usurpation of authority with the force of arms, and that President Yanukovych is still the legitimate president of Ukraine. In a press conference, Putin said the Ukrainian opposition's practices were irrational and led to shaking stability in the region, and that armed men assaulted citizens while Western governments observed full silence. Putin added that legally it was not permissible to encourage illegitimacy and that constitutional methods must be adopted to introduce any change. Except for the parliament, Putin said, all present authorities' bodies in Ukraine were illegal. Putin stressed that the Ukrainians' right to self-determination must be guaranteed.
Подписали между оппозицией и властью тогда, 21-го.
For the third consecutive day, the fourth national polio vaccination campaign targeting children under 5 years old continues. Health Minister Saad al-Naif asserted that the fourth national polio vaccination campaign is targeting all governorates and every child in the next coming days of the campaign. Director of the vaccination program, Dr. Nidal Abu Rashid, said that the campaign was launched in all provinces through 1,200 centers and tens of medical points, pointing out that 7,080 doctors and 1,884 volunteers are taking part in this campaign. Abu Rashid added that the current campaign is distinguished with increasing participation of volunteers and civil society figures, which would help the campaign reach more areas than before, consequently covering a larger percentage of children. The third nationwide vaccination campaign had succeeded to reach more than 2,700,000 children, and the greatest number of vaccinated children was registered in Damascus countryside province. Syria has said it was unfortunate for the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon to say words that contravened the truth and lacked objectivity on the humanitarian situation in Syria and the Syrian Arab Republic delegation's performance at the Geneva conference. In a statement, the Foreign and Expatriates Ministry said the UN Secretary General should have confirmed efforts to tackle the roots of the Syrian crisis through implementing the UN Security Council's resolutions in confronting the terrorism that is targeting Syria, which is fulfilling its duties in defending its sovereignty, citizens and territorial integrity, and through compelling the states that arm, finance and harbor those terrorist gangs to stop such support. The ministry said Syria would continue to combat terrorism with all means and would go on with its earnest efforts to find a political solution and reach national reconciliation. Citizens in Hassia town and the adjacent villages in Homs countryside and Karm al-Shami neighborhood in Homs city staged a mass march in support of the firm national principles and the Syrian Arab Army in confronting the armed terrorist groups. Participants in the march carried national flags and placards stressing national unity and glorifying the sacrifices of the Syrian Arab Army in the face of Takfiri terrorism. They expressed commitment to the national principles. They asserted that Syria will remain the bulwark of steadfastness and confrontation in the face of the conspiracies hedged against Syria. In Damascus suburbs, particularly in Yabrud, Syrian Arab army units have destroyed a number of cars provided with machine guns and eliminated the terrorists in them. Other Syrian Arab army units had earlier tightened control on Al-Aqaba district and Al-Sahel village in Al-Qalamun. In Homs, the Syrian Arab army has intercepted an attempt by an armed terrorist group to infiltrate into al-Mashar al-Janubi in Talbise to attack a military checkpoint. The Syrian Arab army killed and wounded all the members of the group. A military source said armed terrorist gatherings were targeted in Azara village in Tel Kalakh. A large number of them were killed or wounded. In Al-Husn village, a Syrian Arab army unit eliminated a terrorist group, including their leader, Nashwa Nkdalim. In Homs, a customs patrol has seized a car loaded with weapons and ammunition east of the industrial town in Hassia. In Damascus suburbs, the authorities have seized a bus on the highway in Al-Qtaifa village loaded with weapons and captured the terrorist who was driving it. In the resort, the Syrian Arab army has restored security and stability to Hweijet al-Mreiyia and eliminated a large number of terrorists and confiscated their weapons. The Syrian Arab army has maintained control once more on Sabah al-Khair silos south of al-Hasake. The news camera monitored the devastation that had been inflicted by terrorists in the area. Welcome back. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro reasserted the Venezuelan people's right in living in peace. President Maduro pointed out the right-wing's attempt to prevent progress and development in Venezuela, asserting that no one can deprive Venezuelan people of their right in culture and peace. For her part, Venezuelan Minister of Information said that extremists from the right wing have held talks in Washington in order to incite anger against the Venezuelan government during the Oscar ceremony in an attempt to discredit Venezuela. Over more than a month, Venezuela has been witnessing violence and sabotage led by groups backed by Washington with the aim of preventing Venezuela from achieving integration with South America against U.S. hegemony. Finally, demonstrating the deep relations between India and Syria, the Indian Embassy celebrated the 49th anniversary of the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program during a ceremony that was held at the Damaros Hotel in Damascus.
During the past few years, India has further increased its ties with Syria and this year it celebrated the 49th anniversary of the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program during a ceremony that was held at the Damaros Hotel in Damascus.
I would like to focus on this particular training program, which is called India Technical and Economic Cooperation Program, called ITEC. So under this program, many Syrian officials have visited India for different kind of training courses in capacity building program. It's a capacity building program and sharing of our developmental experiences with officials from other countries. The feedback which I have received from the ITEC trainees is that courses were very useful. They could apply the knowledge and skills which they acquired in India to their respective fields here.
This is a great day for both Syria and India. In fact, the technical cooperation between the two countries have deepened further during the past many years. And during the crisis, India was one of the few countries that continued this cooperation. Not only that, but deepened this cooperation, increased the number of scholarships given to Syria. The relation between Syria and India is a relation between two brotherly peoples, two sisterly countries, and we appreciate very much the positions of the Indian government towards recent developments in Syria, and we have every willingness to deepen this cooperation based on the traditional relations between the two countries.
The occasion was an opportunity to renew contacts with the Syrian friends who went to India for training courses in various fields, economic, cultural and technical.
These courses include rural areas, people's development in their project, in their agriculture program, women empowerment, small business promotion and development, and also especially in the ITEC programs also. And we can say this program make very big links between India and all the countries which they participate in this program.
I participated in this program at the Aptech Institute in India in 2012. It was really helpful because it was about communication skills, especially that I work at department or development department at Ministry of Information.
During the ceremony, Syrian participants in training courses renewed their memories and shared their experience when they were in training programs in India. Friendly countries like India continued with their cooperation programs with Syria with the aim of boosting relations and developing communication. Sousan Badr, Syrian Television News in English.
With this we end our news for today. Thank you for watching. For more details about Syria and the region and to view this bulletin again, you can always visit our website in English, syriaonline.sy. Now to latest business and market news with Nariman Qassam, but after a short break.